Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay.
Climate change 101.
Yeah, exciting. So yeah, we're looking at climate change today. We're going to go through a bit the basics, some of the stuff behind it, and hopefully it'll be like really interesting and engaging for you guys. So there's a bit of engagement. So make sure you're able to type into the chat. It'd be great to hear some of your thoughts. So kick us off. Alex, do you want to tell us about who is ECO-UNESCO?
Of course. So I actually learned about ECO-UNESCO when I was still in secondary school. And I personally joined one of the programs called Young Environmentalist Awards, which we will learn a bit more about. So ECO-UNESCO offers youth education, environmental education, and it empowers young people to help the planet. It was actually founded quite a long time ago in 1986. And I've personally been working with ECO-UNESCO as a young person and an employee for, I'd say, the last 10 to 15 years.
So Alex mentioned this, the Young Environmentalist Awards there. So this is one of our big programs that we do. It's celebrating its 25th anniversary. So it's an all-Ireland program, recognize the work of young people like yourselves who take environmental action. It's open for ages 10 to 18. So there's loads of different categories to get involved in, and the registrations close at the end of November. But final submissions are at the end of February. So if you want to take action and do like a project around it, could be something simple, something big. You could do it with a couple of friends, your school group, community. Yeah, there's like so much you could do. We highly recommend you get in, and we'll link into that, I suppose, later on as well. So climate change, the topic for today. So what to start us off, what do you already know about climate change? If you want to put in the chat, we'll read some things out. But yeah, I want to get your like idea on what you already know.
I see two people are typing. Let's see. There's no right or wrong answers. Just give it a try.
So we got caused by humans not taking care of the planet, but also natural causes. Something to do with the weather.
Very nice. Great answers. So we're going to be going very much into that next. So let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned weather. So what's the difference between weather and climate? Alex, do you want to tell us?
Yeah, so for me, weather is short term. So it's something that can change quite quickly. It might rain 1 minute and be sunny the next, something we might all be familiar with living in Ireland. And climate is more long term. So we could be looking at the average temperature, for example, over the course of a month or over a year. So you can see that the averages there vary quite a lot depending on the time of year, such as December or winter time and summertime. So those two, are very similar, but they're very different at the same time. So just to recap, so weather is really short term, changing in minutes, and then climate is long term. So you could be looking at the month in general or kind of the whole year.
Yeah. So yeah. Over here we have our next bit about global temperatures.
So has anyone seen this graph before? Anyone familiar with this picture? Can I just see maybe a hand up if anyone has? Yeah, okay, I see a couple. Amazing. Okay, so these are climate stripes. So these, oh, I see, perfect, hand up there. Amazing. So you can see the change in temperature from 1850 to 2022, and you can see the blue is usually associated with colder temperature and red with warmer temperature. So you can see there has been some change, and we are at the moment had an increase of 1.2 degrees, which is quite a lot. And that is not, to say that today is 18 degrees, tomorrow is 19, and that's the difference. It's the climate that's changed. It's not the weather. That's why it's really important, because you could have a change of 10 degrees in a day, but on average, the increase is of 1.2.
So the greenhouse effect. Has anyone come across this before? Maybe in like a science class or
Yeah, we see hands up. Amazing.
yeah. So the greenhouse effect, basically, we get energy from the sun that heats the planet. But the greenhouse effect is basically we've been releasing gases such as CO2 or methane and nitrous oxide, and they create a sort of blanket like you would have in, a plant house, a greenhouse, where the glass is used to retain the heat inside, and they prevent the excess heat, extra heat, from leaving our atmosphere and traveling out in space. So that's trapped, and then it gets, directed back down to the Earth, creating, warmer temperatures, essentially. Alex, anything that I missed there?
No, you're good. Yeah.
So what is causing the greenhouse effect? We touched on a little bit there, but what is releasing these harmful gases?
Someone said, Joanne's class said, caused by humans not taking care of the planet, but also natural causes.
So what sort of human effects or natural effects would cause the release of these gases, I suppose?
No takers. I think we're all feeling like it could be us.
Oh, we got some chat coming in. Airplanes, cars, and cows.
Oh yeah, very good
That's
examples.
good, yeah. Farming, burning of fossil fuels, pollution.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah,
great
some great,
answers.
very good. So yeah, I think you summed it up there. Us humans. So I know cows were also mentioned, but that's as someone else. Mount Mellick Community School also mentioned farming, so cows would come into that, which is us. So yeah, a lot of it is down to us, the people, through doing things, taking actions, driving cars, flying airplanes, excessive farming, releases these gases, which then heat and pollution as well. So yeah. So one of the main ones is the fossil fuels, which was mentioned, right? Yeah, burning fossil fuels. Mount Malik. Thank you. So looking at that, what do you think the three main fossil fuels we use are? Oil, coal, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we got some more answers coming in.
Yeah. Oil, coal, carbon dioxide so far.
Hmm.
We got two more of typing. Let's see what comes. Wood.
Wood, fuel, oil, gas.
from
Okay.
students in State Brogan's College Band, and very nice.
So got loads of great answers there. The three we're going to be looking at here are coal, oil, and gas. So I'll
Could you
pass
tell us,
this.
Ian,
Yeah.
could you
Yeah, yeah.
tell us if wood is a fossil fuel?
So wood is not a fossil fuel. So when we look at fossil fuels, we're looking at fuels that have been formed usually through millions of years. It's the breakdown of fossils. So dead animals from millions of years ago that have usually been like compressed and stuff. And through, yeah, through time, they've been made into a source that we can sort of use
Yeah,
as a fuel,
burn, yeah.
essentially.
That's a
When
good
as
answer.
Yeah, so when as wood is not, it is a fuel for certain, but it's not a fossil fuel.
And the term for that would be renewable. So
Yeah,
it can grow back, you can get it back. So plants, for example, would be renewable, whereas a fossil fuel will run out at one point or another. So we have a limited supply.
yeah. That's not to say that when you burn a wood, that doesn't release CO2, however.
Mhm.
This is a whole other thing, but to shorten things down, is that you may know that trees absorb carbon. Um, and then if you burn them, that carbon store is then released. So just a little interesting fact for you. But they are renewable because we can grow more trees. But yeah. Okay. Alex, I'll pass this on to you.
So fossil fuels are pretty much in everything. So could anyone tell me any everyday items or anything they've even used today that has fossil fuels or that used fossil fuels to make? I see loads of volunteers, so please put it all in the chat. There's already some examples here with the little image on the slide. But if you can think of anything else, that'd be really good.
Cars, buses, phones, the manufacturing of them, travel.
Very good. So manufacturing means production.
Yeah.
So creating of cars, buses, phones.
You
We've
got
got more
ovens,
cars, oven, airplane, fire, phones, heating homes, absolutely travel, 100%. And do you think we can live without fossil fuels? Do you think we could just not use anything that has fossil fuels? Can I see maybe shakes or nods? No, you can't, right? It's too difficult. Everything has fossil fuels. So, Ian, if you click next, we can see some more examples. No, thank you. Scooters, yes. We've
so we can
got
see some things mentioned. Yeah.
yeah, so packaging, even plastic. Um, you can have yeah, exactly. Someone said heating of homes, absolutely. Heating of schools. You've got clothes and fashion. So even clothes sometimes are made out of plastic, even though it doesn't feel like a plastic bottle, they can still be made out of plastic fabric or fossil fuels, such as polyester. Airplanes and cars and scooters travel, absolutely. A lot of you already knew this. Yeah, electricity, lighting. So, and like basically energy. Fossil fuels are used for manufacturing, like you were saying, production. It's used in almost every part of production of our products that we use every day. Well done, guys. You did really well.
So some parts of the world use more fossil fuels than others. So as we circled there, we could see that Europe and sort of North America and stuff produce and use more fossil fuels than other parts of the world, such as Africa and South America and Oceania. Um, so this links into our next piece. So it's Alex, do you want to explain this?
Sure. So we may have mentioned already that we both work in the Youth Climate Advocate Program, which is actually linked to climate justice. So when we talk about climate change, we talk about the climate, the temperature, the fossil fuels, but climate justice talks about the human aspect of it and the equality and fairness aspect of it. So it's not just about the science, it's also about people.
Exactly. So climate change affects people differently depending on some of these following factors. So location, so where they are, and income, how money they make, their gender, class, race, age, and level of education. So we're gonna dip into this now. So first we need to look at developed versus developing. Maybe you've heard of this before, but in case you haven't, a developed country or a developed region is one that has wealth, usually advanced technology, including medicine, science, and education. So some examples of this are Europe, like Ireland, the US, and Japan. And then developing countries have less developed technology or lack of wealth, and this can result for them in more illness or death or a lack of education. So some of the examples we have here are Mexico, Thailand, and Turkey. So which type of country do you think is more harmful to the planet? Developed or developing? That hand's going up.
Great energy for a Tuesday morning. Developed! Exclamation mark. Yes, developed. Amazing. Developed, developed. Wow, everyone's saying
Everyone's saying
developed.
developed. And then, so which type of country do you think is worse affected by climate change? These developed countries or the developing ones? Developing.
Developing again. Developing, yeah. Developing. Very
Okay,
good.
great. Um, you know, everyone's of a common mind here, which is interesting. Cool. So we're going to be looking at some comparisons of developing versus developed regions. So our first one here, we're looking at Africa, the continent of Africa, which is a developing region. So 33% of all Africans live in drought-prone regions. So they have a lack of access to water, and this threatens their lives, the lives of their plants, the animals, and the people living there. Because water is one of those essential things that all life needs to survive. Whereas in Europe, which is a developed region, we use like 3,000 liters of water to sell the average cotton t-shirt, which, to put that into reference, that's about like 18 bathtubs of water. That's a lot of water. So there's this issue where in Europe, we'd use like a lot of water for really basic, no, I wouldn't say basic, but sort of luxury items. And in other parts of the world, that is, something that they don't have access to, and it might seem wasteful. Now, it says, I don't want you to go away and say, oh, cotton t-shirts are awful because they use so much water. Cotton is actually a great material. It's much better than alternatives like polyester, which we mentioned earlier, which is clothing that's made from fossil fuels, from plastics. It's just when we're considering, say, cotton t-shirts, if just not over excessively buying lots of t-shirts, because then you're unnecessarily using these resources. Alex, anything that I missed with that?
All good.
Good, cool. So hopefully that paints a picture of that. So our next one is the Kiribati Islands. So they're experiencing sea level that is starting to flood their island. So they won't have an island to live on soon enough, and their country, people have to move for their own safety. Whereas a developed country like the US is making it very difficult for people to move into their country. So they close their borders and are making it harder for these sort of people to get the help they need, to survive. So the US is a big country. It's massive. There's lots of space there. So it's not an issue of there not being enough space. And then our next example here we have is Thailand. So extreme weather from storms are getting worse due to climate change, and this is increasing the level of disease and costing Thailand lots of money for repairing buildings. Whereas China, which is considered a developed country, is the #1 greenhouse gas polluter in the world. They're still opening new coal mines every day. So the use of this coal will affect climate change. So I know some people, and I'm going to share a fact that I learned recently, and I've had people go like, "Oh, well, how does, climate change or, fossil fuels have anything to do with the weather?" And I found out that essentially due to the greenhouse effect, that heats up our seas, and the higher the temperature of a body of water, the more likely storms like hurricanes are to occur. So I think near Florida, actually, the water temperature was, I want to say, above 28 degrees this summer, which is the highest it's ever been. I don't have an exact figure for that, but it's basically they suffer from a lot of hurricanes and other places around the world where the water temperature has gone up due to climate change. It's create more extreme weather events. So yeah, that's just a tidbit to share there. So do you think China in this case should close down their coal mines if that coal is going to be used to burn fossil fuels, create more CO2? What are your thoughts on that?
I see lots of hands up, so hopefully we can get some answers in the chat. Amazing. Looks like you guys are having a party in there. Woo!
So we got yes, but not them all. Okay. No, because it's their country. Yes. We're a little bit more divided on this one. It's interesting.
Which is to be expected.
Yeah.
It's a great debate starter. So we've got yes, but not them all. We've got yes, no, because it's their country. We've got Miss Sharon typing. Most, but not all. Interesting.
Yeah. So if we are closing them, I know some people were saying yes, some of them, yes, we should. A mix. What about the people who work in those coal mines? What should happen to them? So if we close down some of them or we close down all of them, what happens to the people who are going to be, out of a job, who are working in that coal mine?
So we touched on the topic of climate justice. So this is kind of coming back to that we obviously want the planet to be healthy. We don't want to harm it in any way. But what about the people? So what can we do with people? Where can people go? Is there anything that we can do to support this change? Do you think it would be fair if we closed them all down and then people were unemployed? Wow, that's amazing. These are really great suggestions, guys.
Oh,
I'm so
wow.
impressed.
Those coming in. I have to actually scroll up. Cool.
Loads of answers there. I'll
Okay.
just read them all because they are so good. So we have trained to work in industries that produce clear energy, slowly phase out the mining of coal, and workers should be given jobs by the government. Ask the government to get people jobs. Job creation in renewable energy sectors. No, they could be helped to work somewhere else.
Okay.
There you go.
Great answers. So, Alex, do you want to
The
explain
topic.
what this is? Just transition?
Yeah, so you guys have basically described just transition. I don't think I need to go into it. I'm joking. So you might actually already understand what it means. So just transition basically means when you are changing something that is not environmentally friendly into something that is eco-friendly. So as you have said in the chat, so let's say if someone is working in a coal mine, that they are going to be supported into changing jobs. So they could, for example, work at a renewable energy farm or like working at solar panel farms. So yeah, it's really, really good that you guys have come up with that yourselves. And the government, I also think, should support this through training, for example. So we will have a definition now on the next, I think, slide.
But leaving no one behind. Yeah. Do you want to read this out or?
Yeah, so just transition means that if a non-environmentally friendly place of work, for example, a coal mine, gets shut down, the people who used to work at the mine will be trained for free to get themselves a new environmentally friendly job. This is good for the planet and for the people. So just remember that climate justice means that we care for the needs of people while we are caring for the needs of the planet.
So, yeah, we've touched in a lot of stuff there. Hope it's not too much, but like it's very interesting. And I think sometimes we can think, oh, it's for the government to do this or it's someone else, but it's important to look at how we can take action ourselves, either individually or in a community. So we are going to do that now. Is someone trying to get into the meeting? No. Okay. Can you think of ways that you could help fight for climate action or climate justice? A little brainstorm.
Any ideas? So what can you guys do? Maybe something in maybe a habit that you have. How could you be more eco-friendly? Anything that you might want to switch to? That's a very ambitious one. Use solar panels. That would be amazing if you could switch to solar panels. If a whole school could switch to solar panels, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Miss Clancy said protests. Yeah. To raise awareness. While people are answering us in the chat, Ian, do you do anything?
Yeah, I actually have an example right here.
Oh, do you?
So
Show us.
I love coffee, but if you go out to get coffee, they usually give you a disposable cup, and there can be issues with that. If it could have microplastics in it, I know a lot of places have phased that out, but basically there was a lining within the coffee cup that was made plastic, and it couldn't be properly recycled. A lot are compostable nowadays, but there's no access to like proper bins, and there's an issue if you put those things into landfill that they can release methane and stuff. So I actually have I'm not going to show the branding. But it's a take home cup, so I can go into a coffee shop or whatever, and I can fill up this with coffee. I can bring it around, and it means I'm not producing waste whenever I do get coffee. And then I could also just use it around the house to keep my drinks warm.
Amazing.
So, my other example is I have a plastic. Well, it's not. It's plastic. It's made from sugar cane. It's a water bottle, and it's an eco bottle here apparently. But it's 100% made from renewable sugar cane, and then the lid is actually made from cork, which
Very
is a
cool.
great resource. So
Amazing. So
that's just
some
two
people
things.
have also, yeah, some people have also gave their suggestions. So you have solar panels, we've got protests to raise awareness. Government leaders need to take the issue more seriously and limit flying on private jets. Very specific action. Very good. Give funds to countries. You've got keep recycling. Recycling
Mhm.
is also really important. Buying recyclable goods. Exactly. Biodegradable ones, compostable ones. I'm going to add maybe adding, let's see, maybe second hand.
Mhm.
So to avoid fast fashion, you could go to charity shops, second-hand shops, and buying clothes there. I see nods. Some people are probably already doing it. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Adding on to that, Alex, if we can take care of our like clothes and stuff and make them last longer,
Yeah.
or like hand them down to people, if you say you grow out of it, it's a great way of keeping our clothing alive. Or if you can even learn the skill of like how to repair things. I know my wife is been trying to teach me how to patch clothes and stuff. So yeah, it's a really useful skill, and it means you're not going out and, as you're saying, like fast fashion buying new clothes every other week or something like that. So some great stuff. So ways to help personal changes, and you've been touching on some of the stuff already. So I'll shop smarter. So as Alex was saying there, with the fast fashion or like buying things from charity shops, so it's secondhand, so you're not creating new materials and using more resources. You can buy things and make them last longer, learn how to repair them. Um, if we're looking at water bottles, for instance, buy something that's maybe not made from regular plastic, that is more environmentally friendly. Educating yourself,
What you're doing
uh,
now.
what you're
Woo!
doing, which is great. So like looking up different ways we can, take more action in our own daily lives, or how we can learn new techniques, or um, keep ourselves aware, I suppose, of what's going on. So, for instance, I had to make myself aware that there was the microplastics in those coffee cups. So to go, oh, I actually shouldn't get these coffee cups because they'll go into landfill and stuff. Um, is that some ways? Alex, do you want to touch on the other one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unplug.
So I don't know about you guys, but I love nature. So unplug for me is really important. So I think it's really important for everyone to take time out and disconnect from technology just for a little bit, and enjoy nature to remind yourself, stay grounded. Don't rely so much on technology if that's possible. And yeah, I think also, even though you are young, your voice still really matters. So here it says vote smarter, or ask the adults to vote smarter on your behalf. So even though you can't vote, you can still influence your friends and family, or your community, to steer them in the way you want them to go. You could also join a protest, as some of you have said in the chat, to spread the word and influence your friends and your family. So that's some of the personal changes you can take.
Yeah. And then some of the group work things. So you could, if you're ambitious, it's a big thing, but like organizing a protest, um, you can spread the word using social media, or if you do a poster presentation or something in your school, Um, letting people know, getting that sort of word out there. So you're educating people, I guess, outside your like immediate like family or friend group. But getting that word out. So that could be done through social media, but easily, like if you did a poster presentation, which is just like a bit of card, some pictures on it, some words, and tell people about all this stuff. That's another really handy and creative way to do things. You can create events. Um, I always use like coffee mornings as an example. I understand that's not really applicable to everyone, but like um having like a meet up or something where people can come to from maybe your school or your local community or your friend group, and you can talk about these issues, and here's something that needs to be done in my village, or you know, something that needs to be done on maybe a national or a global stage, and you know, think about ways that you could do that or implement that or change business practices in your area. It's all achievable as well. Like the more people you have on board to do something, the more sort of weight you have. And then changing policy is the next thing. Like going on to that, like if you can get a group of people to um talk to your local politicians, and getting that word out there, you can really have an impact on that. So I know, Alex, with our program, in the Youth Climate Advocate program, we work with young people, and part of what they do is talking to policymakers and bringing an issue of, you know, this isn't right and we want to change this and here's how we're doing it, but we want you to take this action. Um, that's part of it. And linking onto that is do an action project. So that could be with a couple of friends in your community. It could be something larger. So I'm working with a group of young people who are looking at fast fashion, which they think is a real issue, and it is. And they're linking it with policymakers. They're creating some sort of like artistic pieces to sort of describe that, and they're going to be doing a swap shop as part of that. And you know, that's their action, but that could be taken on. We have the Young Environmentalist Awards, and you can do an action project with that throughout the year coming up to end of spring. So, unless Alex, you have anything else to add there, that is our session. So we thank you so much for coming along. This is part of our Eco Week. So we were doing Climate Change 101 today with you, and we just want to thank you so much for your attendance and your interaction. Later on today, from 2 to 3 p.m., there's Climate Communications, spreading the word with Evie Kenny, who's a young person who has the Ecolution podcast. I'm excited to see how that goes. And then, yeah, and through the rest of the week, Wednesday through Friday, there's more exciting webinars and sessions from 9 to 10 and 2 to 3. So make sure to check it out for sure. And if you have any questions or you want to connect with us at all, we have our details here. You can get to us on ECO-UNESCO.ie, our email there, or if you want to check us out on any social media, we're at ECO-UNESCO on Twitter and Instagram, and at ECO-UNESCO Ireland on Facebook. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.